All right, we have a special treat here in studio. I am no longer solo here on the desk. No, it is not Jesse Cofield returning either. It is Steve Buchanan.
I would say just as attractive, though.
Yes, absolutely. You are very easy on the eyes.
Thank you.
So this used to be Put Up My Bukes, this segment, right? But then Garion Thorne, our friendly Canadian north of the border, decided to smoke you there in the best of 7 series. He won last week. So now what we're going to do, producer Slate has decided to kind of treat this as like a tennis match. So basically he wins, last week. This is going to be his segment this week. We're going to kind of rotate back and forth. What are we looking at?
Garion won last week?
Okay, so yeah, it looks like you won last week.
I mean, call me crazy. I see a lot of red, Garion, and then if we come here,
Garion won the last series. Gary won the last series.
Why does Steve get why does his name get like a quotation, like the mark there after the S, and mine doesn't? That's a level of disrespect I didn't realize.
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
You're gonna have to talk to Howie. He does the graphics like in the back.
Howie is the worst graphics guy we have at DraftKings. He can't even get that right.
All right.
Basic English language.
You're bouncing back here. So you won last week. I guess we're just gonna rotate it whatever. So maybe Put Up Your Bukes is back next week. But anyhow, this is when you guys, Billy, you're in front of the camera. Billy, watch out. Okay, there you go. All right, this is when.
But Howie's doing the camera.
We're all so off the rails. This is when you guys give us your favorite DFS plays on tonight's slate. And then, you're going to agree or pivot off of it. So, Garion, your segment, you go first, bud. Who's your pitcher tonight?
Yeah, as we talked about last week, neither Steve nor I actually want this segment because it involves us getting up earlier to make the picks, which I didn't realize was a thing until I won. And now it's like the monkey paw situation. It was actually a curse the whole time. I'm going to go with Eric Lauer against the Chicago Cubs. I mean, anyone who watched that doubleheader yesterday probably doesn't need any real analysis of this pick. The Cubs just stink offensively. They got off to a great start in April. They have been pitiful ever since. In the month of May, they're hitting just .222 with the third highest strikeout rate in all of baseball. There's a reason yesterday against this Cubs lineup. And Lauer, to his credit, 2.31 ERA so far this season. Maybe he doesn't continue to maintain an 89% strand rate for the duration of 2022, but he's got a 30% strikeout rate. He's just been fantastic so far this season. I was expecting him to be, let's just say, a couple $100 north of the 10K mark. So the fact you're getting him for less than $10,000 tonight, that almost seems like a value.
Where are you going, dude? Because 13 games on this slate.
Yeah, so there is a new ace of Major League Baseball.
Who?
And he's just not being talked about enough.
Talk about him.
His name is Martin Perez. He's on the Texas
Oh, my God. You're
Rangers.
Former Red Sox, dude.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Martin Perez, I wouldn't say possesses a ton of talent. But for whatever reason, in 2022, the talent is exuberant. I mean, this guy just went out against the Houston Astros 2 starts ago, a team that doesn't strike out a lot. And somehow, thank you, Billy, and somehow the Astros couldn't get anything off him. Perez went the whole game. Shut them out, 5 strikeouts in that game. Now he's going against the Tampa Bay Rays, who haven't exactly been the offensive juggernaut that we think that they are in the month of May. They're striking out a ton, and they're not taking walks at all. They're taking just under 7% walk rate in the month of May right now. So the way that Perez is pitching, the lefty going against the Tampa Bay Rays at 8,900, I just feel like he's just little too inexpensive on this slate. And with the way he's been pitching, he could easily bring back value on that $8,900 salary. So give me Martin Perez. Not something I'd ever expect to be talking about on live, national, worldwide television, but here we are.
Yeah, saving people $1,000 too.
Hey,
compared to Garion's pick.
Yep.
Good for you, man.
Hey, thanks.
All right, Garion, what do you got for infielder here? You're going one of the hottest hitters right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say pretty much everyone in the world is pretty pumped that it is June 1st tomorrow, like summer kind of actually starts happening tomorrow.
Really?
Everyone except for Paul Goldschmidt. He's the only person on this planet who is sad to see the month of May perish. Paul Goldschmidt has a 255 WRC plus going back to May 1st. I don't know what happened between April and May for Paul Goldschmidt, but something clicked, and he is unstoppable at the plate right now. And he has gone back to his 2016, 2017 form where no left-handed pitcher is safe against Paul Goldschmidt. 38 plate appearances so far this season. He is hitting 515 against the left-handed pitchers that he has faced. The numbers are staggering. He's got a 646 WOBA within the split. Obviously, we're dealing with some relatively small samples here, but the numbers that Goldschmidt has put up against Southpaws this season are gaudy. And while Blake Snell has looked all right in his first 2 starts back from the IL, he hasn't looked amazing. And I think Paul Goldschmidt against any left-handed pitcher right now is just a spot you have to take advantage of.
Yeah, 21 extra base hits in this single month.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and like RIP to the month of May. Yeah,
It's a shame.
Today is the last day of its life.
And that's why I came to the office. I come once per month. This was my last day to do it, so I came in.
I mean, he went with the obvious choice here. Do you have someone that's an obvious play as well?
I don't know if Pete Alonso is an obvious play, but anybody is an obvious play when you're going up against Patrick Corbin because, Patrick Corbin is a starter on the Nationals and the Nationals only. Any other team, including the Athletics, I think would say, I think we're done with this project and we're going to move on. Nonetheless, Pete Alonso is getting that stellar matchup tonight. He has just been absolutely on one as of late, averaging 11.8 DraftKings fantasy points over his last 5 games on the season against lefties specifically. 9.8 DraftKings fantasy points, 374 WOBA against them, 149 WRC plus. This is always the plus matchup for Pete Alonso. Don't want to shy away from that tonight against somebody who has always had an issue with all these fly balls, and a lot of those fly balls, they leave the park sometimes. So with the guy, the polar bear, the man with a massive amount of power, playing first base for the Mets, that's going to be my guy tonight, so give me Pete Alonso.
All right, outfielder, Gare Bear, who do you like?
I'm going to go with Taylor Ward, who is still criminally underpriced at just $4,800. I understand that this kind of came out of nowhere in April, but we are now 2 full months into the season. Taylor Ward is sitting 98th percentile or better in expected slugging percentage, expected WOBA, barrel rate. It's no longer a time where you can keep this guy below 5K, particularly if he is going up into an opposite hand matchup. He has crushed left-handed pitching so far this season. A 489 expected WOBA against Southpaws. And Jordan Montgomery, nothing special with Montgomery. His strikeout rate is down from past seasons in 2022. He's given up a home run in each of his past 4 starts. Taylor Ward, there's a very good chance that he will be hitting leadoff tonight for this Angels lineup against the left-handed Montgomery. I just think everything comes together for a fantastic spot for Ward, who again should probably be like $1,000 more expensive than this if we're actually basing price point on past success.
Yeah, we all know how great Mike Trout has been this season and also for his career. But what some people may not know is Ward is the best hitter on the Angels this year.
By far. No, he's been excellent too, and that's a fine pick by Garion. But I'm actually going to be going with Juan Soto, who is a lot cheaper than you'd expect. Only $4,600 tonight, going up against the fraudulent Trevor Williams. He's been pretty serviceable so far for the Mets. That's where it changes here tonight. The Nationals have a bunch of lefties that can throw at Trevor Williams, and that always has been his kryptonite. If you look at his numbers from last year, 340 WOBA against him, a 4.02 FIP, walking almost 3 batters per 9 inning against lefties. Look, Soto has nobody to knock him. That's why he barely even has 20 RBIs at this point, but he alone is still putting up some massive numbers against righties. I mean, you obviously know the type of production he can do, but a 416 WOBA against him, 167 WRC plus. He's still grabbing the fantasy points, even if he's doing it all by himself. Trevor Williams, the fun stops tonight. I think he finally gets exposed against this Nationals club, who is not usually a team that exposes many opposing pitchers, but with the amount of lefties they can put in that lineup, I think this is the night for that to happen.
All right, well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but it appears Garion, for his value play, is going to be targeting an individual going up against your Mariners. Is that right, Garion?
Well, yeah, I just think it's a sneaky, high-scoring potential game here between the Orioles and the Mariners. I mean, you go back 2 weekends ago, the Orioles had 2 transactions. They called up Adley Rutschman, and they activated Ryan Mountcastle off the IL. And since then, they've really been hitting the baseball pretty well. And it's honestly had more to do with Mountcastle than it had to do with Rutschman. Mountcastle's just underpriced. He's $2,800, despite the fact across his last 9 games, he's got an 811 OPS. He's got a 130 WRC plus. And crucially, he's also right-handed. And George Kirby, dude's got all the talent in the world. I think he's going to be great one day, but that day is not right now. And it hasn't been the day in any of his past 4 starts he's made at the major league level. He has struggled immensely with right-handed bats, giving up a 431 WOBA within the split. I think Mountcastle can take advantage of that. He's climbing up the Orioles order right now. Again, for less than $3,000, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a better value play than that.
Dude went 4 for 5 with a solo tater and 4 runs scored yesterday against your Red Sox. Who you got for a value play?
Yeah, look, it's 2022. We're still talking about Albert Pujols being a pretty good hitter at this point.
He can pitch too.
Yeah, he can pitch too. He does it all. But especially against lefties, this is where he thrives on the season. 8.5 DraftKings fantasy point he's averaging against them. Righties, only 5.5 DraftKings fantasy points. Garion kind of touched on Blake Snell a little bit earlier, but I think this is a great spot for Pujols if you need some value in your lineup tonight. Pujols is kind of that boom or bust guy, but it doesn't really matter so much when he's only 2,700, and this is somebody who can get some extra base hits, maybe even park one of the balls here. Against the lefty, most likely he's going to be batting cleanup tonight too as well. He's kind of been hitting all around the lineup. We've seen him bat 7th, we've seen him bat 5th, but I think tonight he should be either 4th or 5th going against the lefty, so give me Pujols at 2,700.
All right, Gary, and last one here in Thorne in my side. Let's get your favorite bet tonight.
Yeah, scrolling through the strikeout props, and this number just stood out. It seems like it's at least a full strikeout off, and that is Kevin Gausman, 5.5 strikeouts against the Chicago White Sox. I will take the over. Now, full credit to the White Sox, who have been struggling offensively, but they have not been striking out. They are one of just 5 teams entering today who have a strikeout rate below 20%. That being said, Kevin Gausman leads all qualified starting pitchers in chase rate and swinging strike rate. He is a strikeout machine, and he has covered this number in 6 of his last 8 starts. And when I say he's covered this number, I don't mean like, oh, he just eked past the 5.5 mark. He has struck out at least 8 batters in 6 of his last 8 starts. Like I said, this number just seems like it's really overreacting to the matchup and not focusing enough on the fact that Kevin Gausman is one of the best strikeout pitchers in baseball. So I will take the over 5.5 for Gausman.
You got a good bet tonight?
Well, when you like hitters from both sides of a game, usually I would say maybe I would consider the over. And that's what I'm going to be considering tonight when it comes to the Nationals and Mets over 9.5. You can get that at plus money, at even money tonight. What's up with that? Oh, because everybody is still under this impression that Trevor Williams has found something in like his 19th career in Major League Baseball. That's a rough estimate. I don't know if that's what it actually is. But all of a sudden he's found something. Give me over 9.5 runs. These are 2 teams that have consistently hit the over all season long. One of the few teams that are hitting the over more than 51% of the time. Not a lot of teams in Major League Baseball are doing that. So give me 2 teams that are hitting the over a lot. 9.5 runs plus money. We like when we double our money on that. Give me over 9.5.